All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Cosmic Compass. Super happy to see everybody. Thank you for being here. And we'll be bringing our guests in a few minutes. But first, what we're going to do is breathe. We're going to breathe. That is our excitement for the morning. And then what we'll do is we'll pull some cards, talk a little astrology, and then we're going to go to our very joy-filled, amazing, loving guests and see what transpires from there. So, all right. So if you want to join me in the breathing, you can close your eyes. I'm going to close my eyes. You don't have to. You can just bring your awareness inward and just bringing yourself here, noticing what it feels like where you are, whether you're sitting or standing. Just allowing yourself to be very present in your body. If you are sitting, feeling your sit bones, your hips. If you're standing, feeling your knees and your ankles and feet. And for all of us, we're going to now breathe into the belly. And on the exhale, consciously relaxing the jaw and the shoulders if possible. And again, breathing in, expanding the belly. And on your exhale, along with the relaxation in the jaw and the shoulders, starting to just let things go that you don't need to have right now. And breathing in and expanding the belly, feeling your feet on the earth, and exhaling and just releasing, honoring the earth where you are right now, honoring all those who have been on this earth prior to you, to me, and just allowing ourselves a bit of reverence this morning. I'll explain why when we get into the astrology, but taking one more breath, deep and expanding the belly, and then exhaling. And when you're ready, you can come back here, just ready for some cards. I'm very excited to see all of you. Thank you for joining us. I open my eyes to see all these new people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's good to have you here. So, all right, cards and then astrology. All right, so three cards for the week, and I'll kind of interweave the astrology as we move along, but you already know Mercury's retrograde. We already know that the new moon is coming. It'll be here for most of us. It'll be on the 20th. So most of the people here, it's on the 20th. And for some of you that are on the west coast of the United States or in Hawaii, um, the new moon is on Wednesday night late. So, what is the new moon in Scorpio, and how can we use these cards to integrate that energy? Well, it's a very deep moon. It's a great moon to honor your ancestors. It's a wonderful moon because it is conjoined with Mercury to listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, listen to your instinct, listen to your ancestors, listen to those who have more wisdom, and because it is also opposite Kathy Price's favorite planet, Uranus, we'll get into that. Let's just say we may have to ask Kathy to reenact a few things. We'll see. All right, but I'll get into that in a minute. All right, so let's pull three cards for the week. All righty. The first card is, again, these are not done. I don't do them in any particular order. I'm just pulling cards that I hope will be supportive for our week. And this one is the Page of Swords. And I don't tell you what they mean. I will in the follow-up email. If you're not on my email list, uh, I'll see what I can do to maybe you can put your not sure what would be the best way to do it. You can email me, and maybe David can put my email address in the chat, and you can email me if you want a copy of the newsletter today. But the Page of Swords, and you can just put yourself right in that narrative. What is happening in that card? If that were you, what would you be experiencing? And that's really what the tarot cards are about, is really training your own intuition to speak with you. So that is something to consider. Um, Tightrope walking isn't necessarily my strength, but in some ways I can certainly see how that might be applicable to right now and to this week. So let's head into the next card. And again, these are not in any particular order. They're just honoring the week ahead. I particularly love this. This is Chris Ann. For those of you who are not familiar with this, the Light Seers Tarot. This is Chris Ann's depiction of the Eight of Cups. I love this one. And I love these cards because her art is actually very intuitive. You don't need to look it up unless you want to. And in the follow-up newsletter, I will give you the affirmations that she shares, which are wonderful. She does a great job. But if this were you, what might be in there? This is actually really good for the astrology right now. So I'm just saying, if there's any, if any, if anyone needs to leave anything behind, this might be the week. Okay, so just saying, not trying to tell you what it means, just saying. Options, options. Okay. All right. And our last card for the week. And our guests can comment on the cards during our conversation if you want to. Like if you have anything you want to share, anytime you can. All right. I love this card, the Knight of Cups. Now, you could be literal if you want to be with this card. Some of you might want to be literal with this card. Some of you might really want to be literal, but if you don't want to be literal, imagine yourself as something in the card. You could be the horse, which often looks like a unicorn to me in this card. You could be the guy, the roses. You could be anything you want in this card. You could be the letter. You could ask yourself, what does that letter say? There's a lot of ways to work with the cards. So that's why I don't like to share anything until I send the follow-up. So this is very exciting. And I know sometimes I do share, but I'd rather to this week, I want to talk to our guests. So I'm not going to share too much. Okay, so those are cards for this week. And um, David has put my email address in the chat. If you are someone who's not receiving the Cosmic Compass newsletters already and you want to receive the follow-up for this one, just email me and I'll make sure that you get that forwarded to you. I won't necessarily sign you up on the list. If you want to be signed up, you can let me know, but I want to make sure everybody gets the follow-up. Okay, so again, Mercury's retrograde. This doesn't mean the world is ending. Uranus is retrograde, Pluto is retrograde, Saturn is retrograde, Neptune is retrograde. This does not mean the world is ending. It just means we're having a retrograde parade. It's fine. It's just a time to really sink in. What am I supposed to learn? Why am I learning it? And how will I apply it? And that's really where we're at right now. That's it. So, I'm just going to bring in our guests and then so then we can just start our conversation. So I'm starting to add spotlights, ladies. So we have Kathy Price and we have Christine Dickson, who I will, in fact, introduce officially in a moment. But before I do, let's just say, ladies, let's just say we are in a car driving through Wales. We're looking at street signs. We're having a good time. We're laughing. Um, Kathy, this is a little astro quiz. Okay. We're in a car driving along. Um, what
Minding
happens if
hedges,
we
yeah.
see Uranus right in front of us? What do we do?
You shouldn't ask me such questions. You should not ask me such questions. Up Uranus, yeah. It's retrograde at the moment, so I believe. I'm sorry, I'm not lowering the tone. You know that this is me. Um, who knows what we do? Who knows what we do in the moment? You know that I'm yeah, in the moment
That's
for
why
the
I asked you the
person.
question, because you're asking the right question.
Yes. Oh, good. It's more by good luck than good judgment, I can
Who
tell you.
knows what we'll do is the right question.
Mm,
because Uranus brings that whole other level of unknowing. It is something that says, think again, try again, bless you. Um, have an opportunity to see something a different way, right?
mm,
So it's we the nice term for Uranus is the great awakener. So it
mm,
allows us to awaken to something different, to see a different perspective. Ideally, it's something that frees us up from something that we no longer need to
mm.
have with us in our lives. So that's the kind of week we're having.
Yeah, I have to say, you said about the cards, because the Page of Swords, the first one, that to me was the card that really spoke to me. Because
Okay.
it was like light bulb moments, knowledge, walking the balance, doing all of that. It was like every part of it has significance. And so when you were saying that about Uranus retrograde and what do you do, it is about moving forward, leaving behind, finding what's appropriate. So
Yeah.
that card was really spot on for me.
Do you remember that card being pulled 2 years ago when we were on? That is, I am 90% sure
We can
that
look.
that card
Came up
was
before.
pulled.
All right, people, you hear it here first. There's something going on. Wow, this is so fascinating. I wish we could interact with the chat even more, but I just don't, I can't do it all the time. But I'm loving what I'm seeing as it's flashing by. So thank you,
White Rope
everyone, for
Meadows,
everything you're
yes.
putting in the chat. Okay, so Kathy Price is in
Yo.
Wales. There are some people here that may not know a lot about who you are. Um, what would you like to say about who you are and why you're here today? Not necessarily existentially, but like specifically.
Who knows? Uranus is telling me. No,
This is Kathy's favorite planet, and there's a long
it
story
is.
along with
Yeah, it's a
that.
long story behind that. But yeah, thank you, my darling. Yeah, so I'm Kathy Price. I live in Wales. My work I call Point of Balance, and my whole ethos is that every system wants to be in balance because that's the place of health, of ease, and everything wants to be there. And basically, stuff gets in the way. So, my work is about helping systems, people, horses, animals of any description, um, find the information they need to come back to balance. So I don't need to know what's wrong. It's purely energetic. I work at distance, I work in person, one to one. And I also feel that part of being in balance is knowing our purpose, finding our potential. And that's not about finding something massive. It can be sitting in the right energy, can
Yeah,
be our purpose.
yes.
And that can be for anything.
I love that.
So blessed to be here with Christine. And thank you, Denise, so much for the invite because we'll be holding our second Bali Magic and Meaning Retreat in Bali, needless to say, because it's the clues in the title, in January, um, coming up in 2026.
Yeah, just a few weeks.
Just if, well, 2 months
What?
we'll be there.
Stop
Two
it.
months. And we'll be, I know, it's like,
Just really scared Christine. She's like, wait, what month is it? Wait, the
No,
retrogrades, what month?
not a few.
Yeah,
No,
no, not month.
oh,
2 months. Two
2 months.
months.
it is 2 months, and we will actually be there.
That's eight
It,
weeks. That's not very long.
stop
Okay,
it,
sorry,
stop it,
sorry.
stop
Okay,
it.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Setting us all into a panic now.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah.
well, so I will say thank you, Kathy. Kathy and Christine are two very dear people to me, and um, I can't believe it has been 2 years since the last
The last
time
one.
that we gathered. Like I can feel where I was. That was literally 3 houses ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah,
You.
here we are, 2 years later. Christine, oh, so good to see you. So, Christine, who are you and why are you here today?
It feels like an existential
I
question.
know.
Who are you? I cannot be put in a box, Denise. Okay. Um, no, but seriously,
Yeah.
uh, I'm a really lucky person. That's who I am. I'm a really lucky person who gets to um, help other people bring their visions of their life into reality. And this this whole trip started because um, I think that what put the idea of Bali in my head was reading Elizabeth Gilbert's Eat, Pray, Love. Like the Bali part, there was something that just grabbed me. And, I didn't have the ability to go and run off to Bali, but I did keep it as a kind of North Star and managed to manifest the ability to go on a solo trip there over the course of maybe 2 years. And it just changed everything for me because of what I really like looking into now is like, why does travel open us up? Why does travel change us so profoundly? And it's this idea of, for me, it's this idea of like when you go someplace, it's so completely different from what your day to day is. And you see people experiencing and living life differently, but really well.
Yeah.
It just, you go, oh, there's more than one way to live this life. Like there are people living life completely different than I am. And so if that's a choice, like how my life looks is actually a choice and often a reflection of what do I have around me? Well, by changing that up, it triggers a part of the brain that's so creative and says, okay, so I don't have to do what everyone else is doing. What parts of me are bottlenecked up inside because it doesn't see itself reflected anywhere around me, but I could really give light to that part and start bringing other things and other possibilities into my life. That what going to Bali did for me because I can tell you that a lot of people who came last time, there was this fear of traveling so far away.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big leap.
Yes,
It,
especially even 2 years ago. That makes sense, right? Yes.
yeah, like that. A lot of people had rarely traveled alone, but
Mhm.
not especially to someplace so exotic and far. And but see, that is part of the whole journey because you see that the world is not this big, scary place. You see how big and awe-inspiring the world can be. And for me, it created so much more confidence in myself and what was possible for me, and that I was a person that traveled to Bali. I was a person that said yes to these things. And that was a new version of me. And what else could this version do? So that's just
That's fun. Thank you for describing it that way. And for those of you that um, wonder how does Christine weave all this into her work, the On the Path coaching, which David could maybe get in the chat for us, Christine's website. Um, that is one of the ways in which you work, but I mean, there's so many different ways that I see you, speaker, teacher, mentor, facilitator, retreat co-facilitator. There's so much richness to this life that you've created and are helping other people create, both of you. I mean, this is the beauty of having you both here and to really connect with this retreat that you're, holding in January. Both of you bring a real commitment to helping others see what's possible, helping others create that field of energy from which you can make new choices. So, um, any thoughts about, I mean, we're going to do a reveal here pretty quick about the astrology of the week, but what are your intentions for the retreat? Like why did you decide to do this? I know why Christine did, but what happened to create this co-creation together?
Well, if we go back to 2023,
Okay.
I think Christine, but no, I can correct me if I'm wrong, because you get in touch with me and say, what about it? And then we both sort of backed off a little bit and didn't say any more. And then literally at the same time, about 2 months later, I think that was about June, July of 23, maybe even a bit later, we suddenly both got in contact, both saying the same thing. Yes, let's do it. That's what I remember. And it was, I mean, it just rolled from there, but it was just so synchronistic that we both at the same moment went, well, it's do or die. We've got to do it now if we're going to do it. And without talking to each other, we both got in touch with each other going, yes, want to do it, want to do it. Yeah. So
Well,
it's,
it comes, go ahead.
sorry, no, sorry. It was just the magic and meaning was the thing that was the real driver because it is about that magic of new experience. And then you step into the meaning of who you are. And having these new experiences is just such a catalyst to change.
So it was coming off of the summit, the Warwick Schiller's podcast summit, the very first one.
Mhm.
And I think it was in January. And I started telling you, like, this is the dream I have. It's been on my vision board for forever. Um, I really want to do this, but you know, I want to do it with people that I enjoy spending time with. I don't want to do it by myself. And I brought it up to Kathy and we kind of talked about it. And then, we did kind of leave it. And then what was interesting is that both of us then had opportunities to do retreats. We were invited to do retreats. And at that point, I hadn't done one yet. And I don't know if Kathy had or not, and then we both circled back because Warwick had asked me to co-host a retreat with him. And that was my sign to me. Like my intuition was telling me, do it, do it, do it. But that was my sign that sold out right away. And that was like, okay,
Mhm.
that's why I jump on it now. So I reached out to Kathy. Kathy was like, I was about to reach out to you. And then Bali was officially born.
Yes, it was. And when I look at the chart and I think back to that conversation a couple of years ago, I think about the timing. And something you just said reminded me, Christine, with Pluto and Aquarius, the energy of transformation comes no matter what. I mean, it's just going to come no matter what. But the idea is that we're working on behalf of each other, that we're working with each other, and that groups and communities have an opportunity to support, to be a part of that change, to be a part of that transformation. And something I say pretty much every week is that, there's a lot of ways this can go. We see the spectrum every day. So when you add in something that is really about light and love and magic and meaning, then you're helping create something beyond maybe what a lot of people are seeing in their lives. And so being able to offer this again, so it's been 2 years. So
Mhm.
do either of you want to talk about why 2 years? I mean, I know why, but I just want to see if anyone wants to say why.
Like
Well,
me.
Yeah, like
yeah, like
you.
Christine.
Yeah.
I
Do you
think
want to
Christine should
share why
answer
it's
that
been
one.
2 years?
Well, we planned on doing it again last year, but then my first grandchild was coming into the world at the same time. So we put it off for a year. And yeah, and that was a whole other journey. But yes, yes. So now we're back.
Yeah, you're back. You're back. And I just have to say before we go into that, that Kathy, I find it fascinating. Also, I won't say anything unless you want to say anything, but it appears that the Bali Magic and Meaning Retreat, when it's planned, it's calling to some souls to enter the world. Um,
Yeah,
would you
yes,
say?
yeah. But you mean my next grandchild? Yes, is yes. So I have all being well, a granddaughter arriving in March.
Yeah.
So
So not
that's
exactly at the same time, at least.
no,
But
but it's leading
yeah.
up. And the other thing as well, though, which is a different energy but very pertinent, I feel, is that Christine and I were talking about doing 2025, and we were really sort of seeing how it could work and knowing when grandson, as we now know, was due and everything like that. Lauren was due, and suddenly I remember we just had this conversation, and we literally, I think I said to you, no, it's not meant to happen this year, and both of us went, oh, absolutely, it's not meant to happen.
Yeah.
And what happened for me, which was slightly different energy, but thank
Yes.
goodness my husband was ill during that time, and
Yes.
I would have been in Bali.
Yeah, no.
So,
Mhm.
you follow the energy, you follow the
Mhm.
flow, and everything works out. So,
And
yeah.
then this is the thing for me. So from my perspective, once you start to create these containers, so once the first one happened, there's now this magic container that continues to hold energy for everyone who was there, but also those who will come later. It's far bigger than we can imagine. And even when you didn't meet last year, amazing things were happening. Not always the easiest, but amazing things were happening both for each of you, but also for people who had been on the first one, I will say. So
Yes.
that, so it's interesting that container continues. And
Mm.
so now we're moving into 2026.
Oh my God.
So, woo, I know I know.
I'm just getting used to 2025.
I know, right? Right. So, is there anything either of you want to say about your intention for 2026 or anything that's been surfacing before I share a little bit about the astrology?
Christy?
Um, yeah, I do. I mean, I definitely have really locked into a thing. So one of the things I want to say is that one of the things I love to do, that my intention is always in doing in this, is to show give people the opportunity to have the experience I had, to give people the opportunity to expand
Yeah.
and unlock
Yeah.
their own potential
I'm gonna go run
through
to
what
go
they
to
see
work
in
for a second.
this.
Yes. Yes.
So
What's immediately?
Are you going to get life jackets?
Okay.
somebody
Hold
who's
on.
talking about life jackets,
I know. We're,
you're
we're not going to go
not
get life
muted.
jackets. Well, maybe we will.
Maybe
Maybe
we
we
will.
will.
Maybe that's a sign.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I'm coming to really see in my own life is this idea that when things get hard,
Mhm.
the tendency is to work harder, to think that we have to step into a more controlling role, that
Yes.
we have to worry and fuss and get our hands and stuff and push ourselves harder.
Mhm.
And I have done that myself many times. And I believe that that rigidity then blocks us from being allowed to partner with the universe, being allowed to see what is actually showing up, to, be in more flow and ease.
Mhm.
Because at any moment, any one of us could get a call, an email, a knock on the door that changes our entire life. So the possibility exists all the time. And it's about having our energy match the life that we want to create first. So we have to feel it first. We have to experience what that feeling is. And the feeling becomes the kind of tuning fork that brings about the life that we want.
I like
And
that.
it doesn't go the other way around. And sometimes we may not even know what that life looks like that we want, but what we always know is what it feels like.
Agreed. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and something both of you, this won't really take place until later in the year, but for all of us to know a lot of these big planetary changes are going to take us into a time where there's not as much Earth represented. Okay, so from an astrological perspective. So being really embodied in how we feel, knowing this feeling, being able to walk through our dreams, our imagination, and to feel how we feel is important, to know what it feels like. to do that. So that'll come later in the year, but for your retreat, there's still some pieces of Earth left in the chart. And there, I mean, just to be clear, this is larger planets. That there will always be Earth in the smaller planets. Don't you worry. We will always have Earth. It's not going away. Don't want to scare anyone. Yeah. Um, but Christine, I really appreciate you setting the stage for what this is. And let me just say, for those of you that don't know Christine or Kathy, we're all sounding super serious right now. Um,
We're
but
behaving ourselves. That's
yeah,
why.
you are. You're both on the very, very best behavior. There will be an incredible amount of joy and laughter as well. I mean, the spirituality of being in a place like Bali, that particular culture, that particular country. I mean, obviously that is a big piece of that, but joyfulness, aliveness, love, it's a big piece of this retreat. And everyone I've spoken to who went to the first one has said the same thing. So I know that that's what's waiting. All right. So are you two ready to hear some fun things? Okay. All
Yes,
right.
Yes,
please.
Okay.
please.
All right. I'm not going to put the chart up because it turns out then everybody gets on YouTube. So I'm just going to look at the chart here and talk to you guys. First things first, which I find fascinating. You're having your retreat in the most serious sun sign. It's in the goal setting sun sign. It's in Capricorn. Okay. Which actually is perfect because I think having an opportunity to meet during Capricorn season, as we like to call it, it's the meaning part of the magic part. It's the meaning. It's how do we put a beautiful container around this energy and how do we um, honor and respect the culture and the traditions? Because there's a lot of that on your retreat. There is a lot of honoring where you are and understanding more about their traditions. And so that fits beautifully with that. Not surprisingly, you will be there for the new moon in Capricorn, not just the sun in Capricorn, but the new moon in Capricorn. So this is for everybody. Um, I believe in Bali, I could be wrong, that new moon is on the 18th of January. Okay. For everyone, whether it's the 17th or 18th, I think it's the 18th, and maybe it's even the 19th. I don't know, time zones and everything. But that weekend, that right there at that time, is our time for 2026 to really set our intentions. So this retreat is the beginning. It is the opening portal for the year. This shouldn't surprise you. No, this isn't. You're not even looking surprised at all. You're like, well, we planned it that way. Did you plan it that way?
No, we
We had
just knew
no
you would make
idea.
sense.
Okay, you
You
just
would
knew it
make
would make
sense of
sense.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on top of all of that, so this is where it gets very interesting for me. You've got the sun in Capricorn, Mars right there with the sun the whole time. Mars is a energetic planet. It's the planet of passion. It's a planet of life force energy. It's a planet of creativity. It has a lot of energy. So it's bringing energy. And then Mercury. Mercury is,
What's
let me
it
think.
doing?
Let me look at this. Where is Mercury? Oh no, I lied. Lied so big.
Liza Minnelli.
Let me think about this for a minute. January 17th. That is fascinating. Hold on. No, I didn't lie. I'm right. Here are all the planets in Capricorn. So you've got the sun, you got the moon, you got Mercury, you got Venus, you got Mars. They're all in Capricorn. This is fascinating. Just it's interesting as I'm looking at the chart, the way it's written, they're a little out of order than I'm normally seeing them. That's a lot of Capricornian energy. So here's what I'm going to say to you. Setting your goals, setting your intentions, honoring traditions, especially where you are. Honoring the ancestors, always important. Okay. But particularly during this retreat, what does that mean? So I'm going to insert something for you to consider for that time period. What is it that so I'll just speak for myself. So if I'm working with this energy, what is it that I have been carrying with me that isn't mine to carry anymore?
Mhm.
There are things that happen within family systems. There are things that happen, and we're not saying right or wrong. We're just saying that they've happened and they create a pattern. And this doesn't even have to extend to your ancestors. This could be your life right now. There are things we do because we have to do them. And then we wake up one day and then, like Christine was saying, really, do I have to keep doing that? Is that really my choice? So this will be a retreat where it all sounds very serious, and I'm just focusing on the Capricorn seriousness right now. I'll get to the other stuff in a minute. Um, but there is an energy that says there's an aliveness, a beauty, a connection to something beyond ourselves, something beyond ourselves. Okay. So there's something that wants to be released. There's patterns, there's ways of seeing things that want to be shifted and changed. There are mysteries and magic because of where these planets are, by the way, not big surprise. They're all in the eighth house, the magic house. Christine and I have talked about this a lot. Um, that say these mysteries want to be shared. So there's a lot here and it's beautiful and fun. So just be just because there's so much Capricorn energy, people, now I've got this special reveal about Capricorn. Are you ready?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Capricorn actually, when we allow ourselves to drop in and feel held and secure, that's Capricorn energy, right? When we allow ourselves to be in the safe container, guess what we get to do? Relax.
Ah.
We get to breathe. We get to enjoy life that much more. So, I've been talking a lot about Saturn because I'm doing that Saturn series. And Saturn in our charts shows us where we are learning lessons, where we have a lot of responsibility young in our lives, when we're young. And then as we get older, the promise of Saturn is that we will grow younger in a certain part of our lives, in a certain area of our lives. So this chart for me says there is such a strong container, such a strong, solid container. And when you honor everything that we've talked about, then you can just relax and enjoy it.
Mm.
So this retreat will be fun. It is designed to be deep. It's designed to open things up. And the whole point is to find the joy, is to find the love.
Mm.
And given how it starts and given the chart for the first day, moving into the rest of the time, it starts with friendship. It starts with discovery. It starts with exploring. It starts with being curious.
Mm.
That's what it's all about. And I'm really excited because to be curious and to deepen into one's own exploration, well, as Christine was describing, when you're in a different country and you're opening up to all kinds of cultural aspects that we couldn't know any other way. That's being curious is the right way to approach this. Just dropping in and being like, wow, there's magic here. So I'm going to tell you a little story that's semi-related. So we have a restaurant here in town where the chef is from Bali. And yeah, he's from Bali. And he and his wife have this beautiful, sweet little restaurant. And the first time I went, which was a couple years ago, um, I asked for they're all their favorites. They have a small menu, but they're all their favorites. So I'm like, what is your favorite? So that was hard. But anyway, the first dish I tried, there are spices that my mouth has never experienced before, ever. And I was like, wow, here I am. I'm an adult and I'm having the experience that a baby has.
Mm.
Because it's really, what other time of our lives are we experiencing everything new for the first time, right? So for the very first time, I'm having this, it's a particular spice, and I can't remember what it's called right now, but there's a particular spice that nowhere ever in my life have I ever encountered. And I just sat there with this taste feeling in my body thinking, this this is what it's like to approach each moment with that curiosity and
Mm.
discovery. So I think that's what this retreat, when I look at the container and when I look at where the two, Saturn and Neptune, are still in Pisces until February when they move to Aries, they're still asking us to deepen into as much spiritual energy as we can. They're not, Neptune will never be back ever to this point in our lifetime. So really, literally, you are having this retreat at the precipice of the change for next year. It's right before everything shifts. So whether it's letting something go that isn't ours to carry forward, or it's tasting something new, figuratively or literally, exploring, discovering, deepening, that's the energy that's present. So, any thoughts, ladies?
Where to start? Where to start? For me, one of the really strong parts of the retreat we went on was seeing the locals and seeing them, what you were saying about honoring their traditions, honoring who they are, being curious. And when we got to visit the different villages and see that each village has a particular skill, art, trade. So they might be stonemasons, they might be working with metal, they might be weavers. And you look and you see on our scale how humble their houses are, how humble they live, and yet you see the joy in them. And you see how they make the most of what they've got. So the beekeeper in particular, his family was just so amazing, and they were so friendly and so welcoming. So all of this is sort of tying in about that honoring, about the discovery, about curiosity. And oh God, that is so powerful, what you said about being on the precipice of change, from being here, and it's setting out, what are you going into? What is that? And so I love the idea of the strong container, the secure, the safe container of everybody. We're all being together there, safely supporting each other, sharing the energy, sharing the intention. And that's what we found, because we kept in contact with so many of the people from last year. In fact, somebody on this call is actually coming again this year. Kerry White, hold your hand up now. And Heather's here as well. I don't know who else because I can't see, but it's a joining together, and it's a sharing of energy, and it's as you said, creating of connection that's not broken, that is there, it runs on. And so, it's like, bring this on, baby, bring this on. Cannot wait. So thank you, sweetheart. That's such, yeah.
One of the things that stood out to me, and Kathy can speak to this too, is that you talked about, don't think there's deep subjects and a deep experience, but there's also lots of joy and laughter. And one of the things that was, for me, initially a little off-putting, about Balinese culture, but then was such a joy was that this culture that's so rich in traditions and has these temples that are hundreds and hundreds of years old and and they're so connected to their culture. And there are people who are healers, are
Yeah.
the hosts at our villas.
Oh, yeah.
The humility that Kathy talked about, he was talking about how he found out that being a healer was in his lineage. His like grandfather or someone was a healer, and that he had been studying how to be a healer and said, I hope that in my lifetime, I will get to a place where I can actually work as a healer.
Mhm.
And, but at the same time, we had these deep conversations. They don't take anything seriously in the way that, like, with this gravitas, they giggle and laugh their way through every conversation. And that's why I say it was a little off-putting at first. Is like, because I don't know, in our country, if you did that, they might come for you with a straitjacket, like there might be like there's a little bit of a incongruence here, but to them, it's all just real. Like, this is life. This is real life. And the heavy, cerebral, deep, emotional, spiritual stuff is as light as a feather and enjoy, as Nancy says, as well, right? There's no set. We don't have to then turn around and change and get very somber when we're like, it is interwoven in everything.
That must be, yeah, just that sounds just absolutely delightful. Absolutely delightful. And there's, again, as you move through the weekend, the moon will move through that time. And it's how many days? Is it 5 days?
8.
It's 8.
8 days. Okay.
So
So,
we start Saturday. Everyone comes in on a Saturday. So you figure that's like a travel day. And we went in to have, so we have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then Sunday, everybody leaves again.
6, 7. So really, by the time you have 8 days, you have the moon moving through three signs or possibly into the fourth. But that movement of the moon, particularly as it begins in the safe container phase, right? Allows you then to gather experiences when it moves into Aquarius, being in a different culture, gathering and also gathering experiences and freeing yourself, letting go, just letting things go a little more and more. Then you have the Pisces energy, which is really soft and tender. It's also sensitive, but also there's a creativity there, which we haven't talked about yet, but the beauty, right? The beauty of the place and the creativity that exists in how they weave everything together. By the time you are ending the retreat, the moon will be getting close to either in Aries or very close to going into Aries itself. So that energy of beginning again, starting anew, taking things into the next step. It's all perfect, like strong container, releasing, finding more freedom, enjoying learning about another culture, moving into the deepening of your spiritual sensitive self, but also the highly creative beauty that exists, and then starting fresh. It's all in. Pretty cool how you
Comes
did that.
together. Yeah.
I like how you did that. I
You like
love,
that?
yeah.
Well, we planned it all.
Yes, of course you did. Of course you did. Um, all right. Is there anything else either of you want to share about what oh, I mean, there might be some details. Like, where do we go to get the details? Now, I did put the link in the last,
I
um,
think David's put one up
did
as
he
well
put it in
already.
there?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, David. Yeah.
Okay. So that details are important. People finding them, getting themselves there. Any tips on that? Because,
Yeah.
Yeah, tips on, because it's a long flight depending on where you are. So
Mhm.
tips on travel? Anyone?
Unless you're from Australia or New Zealand.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, the thing I love about this trip is like it's so rich from the beginning to the end because what we do is we like to do a layover.
Mm.
We like to do a layover in a place that we would love to see. Like last time we did Singapore.
Oh, yeah.
So and how we have tips on how to do that. One of the ways is a lot of times they'll have a super long layover. Just, when you're looking at your ticket,
Yeah.
you pick one with like a 26 to 30 hour layover. So you end up getting to see a whole other place and getting a nice night's sleep and starting to adjust to the time zone.
Hmm.
And then you have your last much smaller leg of the trip.
Hmm.
So Singapore, Hong Kong, some people stayed in Dubai, Taiwan. There's a lot of different places that you can have. Like when I went the first time, I went to Hong Kong and I really planned it out and I packed so much into those 30 hours that it's actually one of the biggest highlights of my trip
Wow.
because it was just so many times I traveled like a gypsy. When I was younger, I'd be like, I don't want to be constrained. I don't want to be constrained by a schedule. And then what would happen is that I would get there and I would then be scrambling to figure out, well, what do I do? And then figuring out,
Hmm.
how do I get here? Oh, I missed that thing because I'm too late. And so having planned it ahead of time and the fun I had, like doing the research and looking into what to see, and then I just got to run through and do what I wanted. It was amazing. Um, so there's that aspect. I think with anything, once you say yes, just the saying yes, everything shifts.
Mm.
Everything starts to
It's
align and
true
things
for
open
any
up.
time you're doing any event.
Yeah. It all
Whether it's,
opens up then.
yeah, it always begins in that moment. I love
So
those tips though for travel. That's really supportive.
oh, we help
So,
people. We help anybody that's looking at how do we do it, and
All
yeah,
the details. We've actually got a little video we put
okay, good.
together and a
Mhm.
sheet, and I did something the opposite end because my son came over with me last time, and we did Singapore on the way in, and then he went off and did his own thing while we had the retreat, and then he and I met up and we did a bit more of Bali and went to the Gili Isles, which was just, oh my God, it was, they are like little desert islands. Well, not desert islands, but these beautiful, you can walk around them in 2 hours. And you're
Wow.
just walking along, walking into the sea, coming out, having something to eat, walking back in. I mean, oh, that was, yeah, it was good.
Amazing. All right, so this is an adventure. And one thing
Mm.
I just wanted to also say is because you have done so much homework and planning, when people do arrive, that again, that very sacred, solid container awaits.
Mhm.
This is a beautiful thing. If, when, especially something, Christine, you said about like traveling on one's own, getting to a place, knowing that there's something there that
Right
will
there. Yeah.
catch you, hold you, keep you, um, keep you in a beautiful, um, energetic, but also physical space. Um,
Yeah, you get to get off the plane and be one of those people that there's a person with a sign with your name on it, and you get whisked away to our private villas where each room has its own suite, its own bathroom, with most of them open up to the sky. So you're in there with these plants all around you in this rain shower. And,
Wow.
we rent the whole property out. So it's just us. And each villa has its own pool, its own
Amazing.
kitchen that is stocked.
I mean, I've seen photos and it's stunning.
We
Um,
should get Denise to come.
Mm. Just kidnap her.
one of
Yes.
these days, one of these days, for sure. Um, what if are there any spaces left? That was a question that was in the chat just now.
So we have, as I understand, we have 3 spaces left. It could be 4 spaces if a couple came. We had a couple come last time. So if a couple came and shared a bed, it could be four. But for singles, we have three spaces left.
Okay.
Two are shared.
Okay.
So there's a shared room with two twin beds,
Okay.
and which is at a discounted rate. And then there's one single left.
It's quite the adventure. Amazing.
And we
Anything?
cover everything. I mean,
Okay. Yeah. So
the
talk.
only thing that's not covered, like your food's covered, travel's everything. You are literally
Accommodations,
off
everything.
the clock when you get there.
It's amazing.
The things that we left open were most dinners so
In the
that people can
evening.
go out and explore in the evening and go in groups or whatever. And spending money, and your money does go far there. So it's just about, what did you want to spend
And
and what
and
get?
then just a bit of luxury. They have the most amazing, beautiful staff that can never do enough for you. They cook the food. Their breakfasts are unbelievable, all home cooked straight there in front of you, brought to the table. We all have breakfast together. But also you can book massages and pedicures, and they're all held in the villas.
And
I
there's like,
absolutely.
I know I'm seeing faces going, ah, and apparently I saw in the chat that if you happen to be having a birthday during that
Oh
time,
yeah,
cake will magically show up.
it magically appears from
magic.
these beautiful, beautiful people. They can never do enough for you, and they're so obliging. Yeah, so it's everything is provided, and then in the evenings, if you go out, there is places to eat. You actually can't drive a car to the villas, so you get picked up from a bud on a scooter, which was a first for me. That was a new experience. I saw it and thought, holy crap. Okay, and there's a big sort of cage at the back they put your bags on. So skillful. And so you can always book a scooter, they'll take you in and out of town, or you can walk. And we ended up walking, it was about 10, 15 minutes, if that, and it's just a lovely, gentle walk.
Yeah,
And there's eating places all the way along there. So everything is there for you.
that's
It's
beautiful.
so beautiful. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
I mean, town is right there, but we are out of town. We are
Mm.
up the hill in where these beautiful rice paddies. So yeah, it's not a road. It's like a path that you go up. And the beauty of it is that you have all of the convenience of being that close to town, but you don't have the noise or anything. You're
Noise, the
up
traffic.
in nature, and but you can walk right in.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
So that,
I can't tell you how many people were like, "Well, I'm not going to be on the scooter. I'm not taking a scooter." Everybody took the scooters and thought it was like one of the best things about it. We had three of us on scooters
Yeah.
sometimes.
that's great. So one thing I noticed from 2 years ago is there is quite a lot of reverence for the people from the group that you are creating. I noticed that there are again, people know what to wear when going into a temple. And so you'll let everyone know how to stay in that very Capricornian traditional honoring of the culture. And I'm imagining there's some history also to learn as well about the people, because, Indonesia is huge.
Mhm.
And coming from this side of the world, I have to say my knowledge of Indonesia is like, it's a little bit more than it was, only because now I've had an opportunity to talk with the lovely chef down the street
Extremely.
here. But, I didn't know there were over 700 languages or something. I mean, it's just amazing.
Well, I didn't know that either. So
So I
No,
might have made
you're
that.
now I
teaching me.
do.
I think we should probably double check that fact. We
Okay,
should
Yeah.
well,
fact checked, but
There
it
are a
was a
lot of
lot.
languages.
I
Yes.
remember it was a lot. Maybe it's 200 languages. I don't know, but it was a lot of languages. So the idea, though, that you're going in, you're deepening, you're connecting, and I mean, for anyone who's looking for a place to um, set the tone for not just 2026, by the way, but for an entirely new era with the planets Neptune and Saturn coming to 0 point in February for the first time in tens of thousands of years. I would
Mm.
say if you're looking for a place to set some energy in motion, this would be a good this would be a good choice. Oh, 719.
See? You were
Woo, I didn't
right.
make it
Thanks,
out. Thank you
Tessa.
so much.
Didn't
Okay.
make it out.
Just all right.
Yes.
Sometimes I wonder because I'm like, that does sound like a lot of
Does
languages.
sound like a little bit.
All right. Any other last words before we close for this morning?
I'll just tell you that in regards to um, the history and really being able to absorb the culture, so many times, these beautiful places and people want to go and experience, and then they'll book it like the Grand Hyatt or the Four Seasons, and you could be anywhere. Like you're not
In it.
experiencing
Mhm.
the culture and the full richness of where you are because you're in this walled off
Oh, like a resort.
luxury resort, right? But
Yeah.
we get to have all of the positives of that, like all the beauty and catering to our every need, but we're in the middle and in with this beautiful family. So real quick, when I went by myself back in 2014, I did this downhill eco bike tour, and this young 22-year-old hilarious boy man named Degus was my was our guide. And he was so funny and laughed about everything, but so knowledgeable and wove like the history into everything. So when we went back 10 years later in 2024, I reached out to the same company. And when our guide showed up, it was Degus.
It was so
10 years
cool.
later,
So cool. And
Degus
it
is
was
the man,
just
right?
as
He is the
funny.
man. So
Amazing.
he is now our personal private tour guide. So he's got the vehicles, and he and his partner take us wherever we want to go, and they tell us all the rich history, and
Mhm.
it's like very VIP concierge. So
Wow. Well, okay, so okay, we're just gonna put this out into the magic cauldron for today. Um, I feel like there's some powerful stories that will continue to be woven, but there are some new ones that will begin on that journey this year. So take lots of
Wonderful.
notes, people.
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to close for today. I'm so grateful to both of you for coming here and bringing your joy and your magic and sharing a little bit about this particular journey. Um, this is profoundly timed. I know you didn't plan it that way, but it is what happens.
planet, get it?
No,
Yeah,
Planet.
yeah, yeah. I
so
was thinking the
clever.
same. Yeah.
Um,
No pun
and
intended.
as we move through, so I'm going to just make a little bit of a suggestion to anyone who is thinking about doing this. Contact Christine and Kathy. Please do not make your travel reservations until after December 1st.
Hmm.
There's no need to, there's no need to tempt Mercury retrograde. Okay? Do not tempt. Do not. Just go ahead and wait until December 1st to get your reservations. You'll have plenty of time. You can research all you want, but I will tell you, buy on a Tuesday. Use a
Yeah.
browser that doesn't capture your information. Tuesday afternoons and evenings are better. Um, do your thing, but don't tempt Mercury.
And last year, half of the people that came between now and
Well,
the
sure,
beginning of
you can
January.
decide right now that you're
Yeah.
coming, but just don't book the tickets yet.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, we already bought our tickets,
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm
hopefully.
saying. If you already bought them, it's no problem. If you can just wait 2 more weeks to buy them, but don't wait to talk to Kathy or Christine because now's the time. Now is the time. Very
No.
exciting.
Thank you so much, Denise, for having us here. It's been a joy as always.
Oh, it's so
And
good to
thank you,
see you.
everybody who's come on the call as well.
Yeah. Well, and yes, I'm thinking maybe we should have a post Bali call at some point
Mm.
just so people can see your glowing radiance. And I do feel like whether it happens every year or every other year, I feel like you've set in motion something that will want to continue. Remember, Capricorn is about tradition. So and because of where it lands this year, there's a legacy now being created for this magic and meaning retreat in Bali. So
If
Thank you,
I ever
sweetheart.
forget how wonderful you are, I just have to spend a little time with you, Denise.
wow.
Mm,
And you always over deliver, let's say.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. See, this is what is so fun when you get to do what you love. It's like you said, you feel
Yeah.
lucky, you feel fortunate, you feel blessed. So I don't want to let you two go because I'm having so much fun and I wish we were all in the same room. But this is we will close for today and we will say thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone here. And I'm going to turn off the
thank you.
recording.